It's great to welcome Francesca Tarantino to the podcast. She happens to share a name with the famous film director, but I'm not sure if she's related to him. She's a musician and a guitarist from Orlando, Florida. Francesca, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Um, so we're recording this 1 week after Valentine's Day, so I hope you had a pleasant Valentine's Day.
I wouldn't say it was pleasant because I was sick, but otherwise it was good.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you're doing okay now.
That's okay. At least I had my song released, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, speaking of that song, it's called Hold On to Me, and I wonder whether this qualifies as a Valentine's Day track.
I kind of considered it to be kind of Valentine's-y. That's kind of why I released it in February, but I didn't want it to be released on Valentine's Day, so I just released it a little bit sooner. But I guess it can be because it is a little bit of a love song if you think about it. So, I guess so.
Mhm. Yeah, so are love songs your preferred like songs to write about, or do you have other topics that you'd like to write?
Not really. I don't really like writing about the same thing all the time, and I feel like um love is sometimes really easy to write about, so I actually try to stay away from it.
Hmm.
So this is my first love song that I really wrote fully, but all my other songs I write like relatable scenarios, so things that happened in my life that may have happened in other people's lives, like tragedy, losing someone you love. I'm sure everyone has lost someone or something. So I just try to write about relatable things.
I see. Yeah. So, what is the particular inspiration behind this song?
For Hold On to Me, it's basically about having someone or being in a relationship and that person is drifting away and you want to stay with that person, you want them to be in your life, so you're kind of asking them to hold on or to, like stay in touch with you, don't let go, and just keep continuing on the way you were.
Hmm. That sounds beautiful.
Thank you.
And it's a wonderful song too. I really like the guitar parts.
Thank you so much. It's fully produced by myself, so I got to do all the guitar parts, so it was really cool.
Nice. So is this the first time you serve as a producer to one of your songs?
It is. It's the first time I've ever self-produced anything. It was really scary. All my other ones, I had a producer, but I did write them, but it was just different. And I learned like going through that studio process of what to do on my own. And I kind of wanted to make a switch and just be more independent. And that's when I started self producing. I'm definitely not great at it right now, but I just think it's something that I'm gonna keep continuing to get better at. So hopefully, I'll just keep learning.
All right. So I'm guessing you're going to self-produce your own songs in the future.
Definitely, I'm probably gonna keep doing that from now on, unless something, I don't know, a really good opportunity comes along the way. But right now, it's just the easiest, and it's also nice because whenever I have any idea, I can just immediately put it in my like at-home studio. So it's really easy.
Mhm. So is this a cost-saving measure, or are you looking to try something new with your music?
Hmm, a little bit of both. And I just wanna kind of just get more independent with my own stuff and not like rely on other people. Like this song is also fully written by myself. So it's kind of a little bit of everything. I think it's good to learn along the way as well because so many bigger artists like Billie Eilish and even Tyler the Creator, which I just learned like recently, and a bunch of other people are self-produced. They do all of their own stuff. So I think it's a good thing to learn and a great experience to have along the way.
Yeah, and they both have unique sounds to their music.
Definitely, 100%.
Mhm. So how would you describe the Francesca Tarantino sound?
I would say it's very pop rock. If I had to put it into one category, that's probably what it would be. I was actually just on another interview and we were talking about how it's very hard to put certain artists in a certain category because it's kind of just a blend of everything, and I kind of think I'm like that. But I definitely want to keep like a little bit of a rock aspect for sure, but still being like pop. So I would say for the most part, it's a blend between those two.
Hmm. Yes. Um, so the pop rock combination, are there songs that feel more pop than rock to you, like when you write them, or do you switch between like which is more predominant?
I think definitely my first, or those weren't my first two songs. I have a song, my very first song I released called My Runaway. I would say that's definitely more rock, but then I released another one that was also very rock. But then this one, Hold On to Me, I think is definitely along the lines of pop more, which I'm totally okay with. Like I love writing anything. But I still think it has like those rock aspects, especially with the guitar solo and all the guitar parts. But I think it really depends, but I think this most recent one is definitely more on the pop side.
Mhm. So how is it different being a producer to being a performer?
It's very technical. When you're performing, it's kind of just all about being in the moment and performing and making people happy and you're happy yourself. But when you're producing, it's really technical. There are so many different things that goes into it. So it's definitely very different, but I like having the blend of it. Listening and it's they're both very different things, but I like doing them together, if that makes sense.
Let's see. Yeah, tell me about living in Orlando, Florida.
I love living in Orlando, Florida. There are so many different live music venues. It's definitely not along the lines of like Nashville, but there's so much to do. There's also like amusement parks, there are beaches. I live right in the middle of Florida, so I can basically go to any beach and it's like an hour drive. Like I said, amusement parks. There's so many great things to do, and the weather is also great here. And there's so many great places to play, great restaurants, festivals. So it's very lively here, and I love that.
Mhm. Tell me more about the music scene there.
It's very outdoorsy, I would say probably because it's very obviously the weather, like I said, is very nice here most of the time. So there are a lot of outdoor venues, and most of the time, whenever you go places, there's almost always a live musician. Um, Sometimes it's just one person, but sometimes it's bands as well. A bunch of local stuff. There are like tourist areas, and kind of get the best of both worlds because you have the tourists and then you have like the locals and all those types of things. But I would say it's very lively, and for the most part, everything is kind of outdoors here, which I like because I love performing outdoors. I think that's the best part. And we also have like a great community with other musicians, so it's very community.
That's incredible. Yeah. I believe you told me that you weren't originally born and raised in Orlando, but Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So what was life like growing up there?
Well, I lived there for 8 years. I moved here like around my eighth birthday. I really liked it there. I also wasn't in the music scene yet, so I can't really tell you anything about that. But I definitely loved living in Pennsylvania. I'm more of a person who likes seeing the seasons change, like the fall leaves, and I also love the snow. But obviously here we don't really get that, and it's almost kind of like spring all year round, and then summer it just gets really hot. But I do love the beaches here, but Pennsylvania was definitely different, and I was surrounded with also amusement parks. I lived like by Hershey Park and a bunch of other smaller parks, so I was still also very used to that, like I am here now. um, but it was definitely very different, but I do miss it because I probably like the weather there better than here.
Hmm, really? Yeah, I heard it can be quite cold there too.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't really mind that most of the time. I do like the snow, and I think it's easier to get warm than to get cold if it's too hot outside, if that makes sense.
That's it. So how long have you been living in Orlando?
In Orlando for about 8 years, I guess. It feels like, wow, it feels like kind of longer than that, but shorter at the same time, but 8 years now.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm guessing you're around 16, 17 years of
Yeah,
age.
I'm 16 years old.
That's it. So I'm guessing you're attending high school at the moment.
I am, but I'm actually doing online school. It's very easy for me because I can like practice whenever I want and do gigs
Hmm.
mainly all the time. It's really easy to manage my time. I just started doing online school this year, so last year I did go to school, but I went half time, so I could have more time for this stuff. But it's just easier because now I can work at my own pace. And yeah, I'm in my sophomore year now. No, I'm not. I'm in my junior year. Sorry.
Mhm. So that'll be the equivalent of grade 11, I'm
Yes,
guessing.
11th grade.
Yeah. So how is it different transitioning from offline school to online schooling?
It was very hard for me to even make the decision because I consider myself a very social person and I really liked going to school, but also I knew that it was a sacrifice that I probably had to take if I wanted to make the next stage in my career, if that makes sense. And also, right now, I keep in touch with all my close friends. I definitely hang out with my friends a lot. I was literally just with them last night. So it's not like I'm disconnected from the world. Um, kind of just disconnected from the in real life school world, and that's just kind of it. So it was definitely hard at first, but now that I've gotten used to it, I don't think it's that bad. But I really do like it, and it definitely helps with my career.
Mhm. Yeah, and you're one of the very few high schoolers who say that they like school. I don't believe that I, as a high schooler, like going to school. Yeah, I made all kinds of excuse not to go, but they all failed. So yeah, tell me, what do you like about school?
I really just liked going and seeing my teachers and seeing my friends. I just really liked going. I even like seeing the people that I don't like. Just something about it always, I don't know, kept me on my toes. And even if I had like a horrible assignment that I didn't want to do, I don't know. I still had fun doing it, like, because I still got to complain about it. I don't know. Just everything about it was, I don't know. I liked learning and I just liked being there. I also, the school that I go to, or not go to, that I went to here, was kind of mainly outdoors. So I loved walking to my classes outdoors and seeing a bunch of people. Um, so I really liked it in that aspect. Sometimes I would, hate the learning like most students, but I still really liked going. I never woke up and was like, oh, I have to go to school today. I was always very happy to go.
I see. I'm sure the Florida weather sort of contributed to that.
Definitely, yeah, it definitely keeps it a little more nicer at school. But on the colder days, it was a little brutal, but it still kept it quite nice. So that's probably another reason I liked going.
I see. Yeah, I remember. I think it was I went to high school back in Hanoi, Vietnam, and the weather can be quite cold in the autumn and winter days, and I had to wake up quite early. So I remember being like really groggy and waking up like some half hour before catching my school bus and such, and I have to rush to get everything ready in order to get to school at a good time.
Yeah, wow. I get that. I totally had that too. Some days I would want to wake up super early and like get all ready and give myself loads of time, but other days I just wanted to roll out of bed and go, so would give myself like 10 minutes to get ready and I would just put on like leggings to keep myself super warm and a hoodie. My brother is always late though, so when we would go to school, I would always be ready on time and then it would always be him 5 minutes late, which always really annoyed me. But now that I'm online, I don't have to worry about that.
I see. Yeah. So do you consider yourself an early morning person or a later morning person?
I think I can be both when I want to be. Like if I wake up for something in the morning, I really don't mind it. Um, but also, obviously I'll be tired, but I can really do it and I'm never really, I don't know, regretting it or wishing I was still in bed really. But I'm also very good at not staying up late at night, but if I'm out somewhere, like I don't think my social battery will run out for a while. Um, so I would say I'm kind of both.
Mhm. So if there's a day when you have to do a concert or two, do you find yourself waking up earlier or later?
I guess it depends on the time of the gig. I don't really like earlier morning gigs because my voice isn't really like ready, if that makes sense, because I still have my morning voice and my voice isn't as warmed up as it would be later in the day because I would have gone through a day of talking. But I don't know. I try to like self-plan so like I get gigs kind of both early in the day and later sometimes, so it kind of just depends, but I definitely like the later gigs. Um Yeah.
How do you maintain yourself vocally?
That there's so much that goes into keeping your vocal cords healthy. It's actually horrible, and I am not great at doing that because there's just so much to do. But I recently started drinking warm lemon water every morning because I know that helps keep the bacteria
Hmm.
not bad in your voice. Um, when you're starting to feel something in your throat, you gargle with salt water, basically for the same effect. I also steam my voice every now and again to keep it basically hydrated. I try not to talk too much. On days where I know I have a special gig or something, I do breathing exercises, vocal exercises to keep my voice kind of on the ready and still growing. And practicing and drinking lots and lots of water.
Hmm. Warm or cold water?
It should technically be warm. Warm is definitely better for your vocal cords, but for me, it just kind of depends. I never really tell a difference, but most of the time it's just room temperature for me. That's what I find helps the most. But when I'm gigging, fun fact about me, I never drink water when I'm gigging because for some reason it will keep me hydrated right when I drink it, but then right after I'll just feel like dry again and it never really helps. So this sounds bad for my health, but for my vocal health, for some reason it helps me. I drink something sugary while I'm gigging, so not a soda because that never helps, but either a lemonade or an iced tea because for some reason just I don't know if it's the sugar like coating my throat or something, but it just keeps me more hydrated, which is quite strange, but that definitely helps me more with my gigs. I don't know the science behind it, but it keeps me more hydrated.
I see. Yeah. So, what's your preferred post gig activity?
Probably coming home and napping because I'm very tired after my gigs most of the time, but always right after my gig, I always do vocal cool downs because I'm just singing for such a long time. You want to cool your voice down in the same way, same as if you're, I don't know, um, you're a track person or you play basketball after a game or something, you always like stretch your muscles again to like I don't know, something them to make them chill again. I don't really know. But it just always helps to keep my vocal cords like tame afterwards. And then after my gigs, I normally just chill. If I haven't seen my friends in a while and it's an early morning gig, then I'll do something with them after. And for some reason, I'm not really like tired then because I'm with my friends. So, but I normally just relax and refresh and get ready for the next day or the next event or whatever is coming next.
So, speaking of friends, do you have more non-musician friends or musician friends?
I have more non-musician friends in person, but on social media, I have so many musical friends that I haven't met, but definitely in person, all of my friends don't really play any instruments. Actually, the few friends that do aren't on the same, like, they don't want to make a career out of it. It's just a hobby. Um, and one of my friends who was really into playing just moved away. So we recently discovered like we kind of play the same stuff and we were like, "Oh, we're going to have to jam." But then he moved away. But I still love to talk to them and sometimes we talk about some music stuff, my friends in person, but it's still not really the main thing we bond over, so it's not really like how I make friends here. Um, but definitely online and like through social media, I have so many musical friends, and they are the people that I normally talk about, like guitars and songs and all the music stuff.
Mhm. Yeah. Speaking of, I believe I got to know you through California-based guitarist Bella Rain. And she's around your age and she's like spectacular. She plays the great Grateful Dead song. So how do you
Amazing.
guys know each other?
I same thing, social media. It's kind of I actually did a podcast with her.
Oh, really?
It was the host and then me and her, so it was really fun to get to
Wow.
talk to her, and she's so talented, so it was amazing. But it's the same type of thing, social media. We found each other on social media. I started following her for a while and then she started following me back, and yeah, I've just been watching her ever since because she's truly amazing. She plays a bunch of shows and she's awesome, so I love watching her things every now and again.
Mhm. Yeah. You have to send me link to that podcast episode. I like to listen to it.
I will. It was a while ago, so I'll have to find it, but I will get it to you when I find it.
All right. Yeah, I believe I had her on twice on this very show. Once as a solo artist, and the second she was with her band, Boonfire. They were releasing their new album, and I want to chat with them about it. Both
Yeah,
were fun
that's
occasions.
that's awesome. She seems very busy and very doing music stuff all the time, which I love. But one day, hopefully, I'll meet her and we'll get to perform together. That would be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah, so I'm guessing you're keeping yourself quite busy this year.
Definitely. I definitely try. I actually have a gig tonight and I have a gig tomorrow, and then I'm doing something on Sunday, and then on Monday I have a guitar lesson. So it's always I'm doing something every single day. And if I'm not, I'm just keeping up with schoolwork. But I try to keep myself very busy. That also distracts me from from the fact that I don't go to school, so I like staying busy.
Mhm.
Um, it really I like staying busy. A lot of people complain about it sometimes, but I think it keeps me on my toes. But I have gigs a lot. I have gigs almost every weekend, and I love it. I wouldn't change a thing.
All right. Yeah. So about the guitar lessons, are you the one giving the guitar lesson or taking?
Oh no, I don't think I'm on the level to give guitar lessons yet. Maybe someday, but I have a guitar lesson every single Monday. My teacher lives in New Jersey. His name is Jimmy Leahy, and he's played, I don't think you'll recognize any of the bands, but he's played with very big classic rock artists. He is wow, he's absolutely amazing. I'm learning so much with him, and he we do a Zoom call obviously because he lives in New Jersey, and yeah, he teaches me. I definitely can't teach him because he's way better than me. He knows everything, and I love learning with him. We do about it every single Monday, and it's great. I just keep learning.
So do you hope to be a guitar or music teacher at some point?
Hmm, maybe along the way, if I need to do something to maybe make extra money, I'm not entirely sure, but I don't want it to be like my main thing. I don't think I that's what I want my career to be about. But definitely if it comes to that, I'd love to do that. Even to teach like little kids, I feel like that would be so fun. But I just don't think I'm there yet. I could probably teach a few things, but I like to stay humble, and I don't think I'm gonna be a good teacher right now.
Mhm. Yeah. So how did you learn to pick up the guitar?
Whew. So my dad actually he plays guitar too, but he not professionally or anything. It's just as a hobby for him. And when I was still living in Pennsylvania, I was about 5 years old, and he actually got me my own guitar, and it was like a super cheap one, for like it doesn't matter. But it he put it in my hands, and I didn't know what I was doing clearly, but I was just strumming it and I just fell in love. So he started teaching me like super simple riffs to songs, the classic rock songs that I knew. And I was like, I really like this. And then we moved to Florida, and I didn't really get too into it again. And I actually started in musical theater so I could do singing and stuff. But then I was like, you know what? I wanna play guitar, and I wanna write my own music, and I wanna rock. And then I started taking guitar lessons about 4 years ago for like rhythm guitar, and then 3 years ago for like lead and soloing and the fancier stuff in guitar.
Mhm. Yeah. And how have you developed a style of guitar playing of your own?
I like to pull from all the other artists that I listen to, which definitely started with classic rock artists like the band Kiss, Iron Maiden, Deep Purple, and now more recent groups like Paramore, My Chemical Romance. And then I just kind of blend it all together and kind of make my own thing. I don't really know. When I'm playing, I just sometimes I put myself in their position, and I would think, what would it do if it was a Kiss song, or if it was a My Chemical Romance song, where would it go? And then I just kind of put it all together into something I like. I like really melodic solos, not really super shreddy and fast ones, and I also can't really play that yet. I could if I wanted to, but that's not really my thing. So another band I really like is Heart, and the guitar player Nancy Wilson is amazing, so I also pull from her stuff. But it's basically just like a pool of all the other artists I like, and then I just pick from there, kind of, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, most of them are from the 70s, and I certainly consider the 70s to be the best decade for rock music.
I think so too. 70s or 80s probably.
Oh yeah. The 80s are good for non-rock popular music, but pop music the most. But yeah,
Yeah,
the 70s is when some of the great rock acts emerge and rule the scene, basically.
definitely. Totally.
Hmm. Right. And I'm guessing you have ambitions to do this music thing full time.
Definitely. It's been my dream. I want to be on big stages. I want to perform for a lot of people. I want to get my music out to as many people as I possibly can. It's been my dream. I love meeting new people through music, and I definitely just want that to be my full-time career because I love it, and it's always been my dream.
Hmm. And one of the new people that you happen to be meeting is me, so I hope I don't disappoint.
Ugh, definitely not.
Yeah. Tell me about an incident or an example of when you discovered a new artist and you feel yourself blown away by that particular musician or band.
Well, this is actually more of a recent one. I probably, okay, this is kind of a basic thing to say, but there's a band called My Chemical Romance, and they're considered very emo, and I think a lot of people know them. They're very big. And I actually listened to one of their songs a while ago, maybe like 3 years ago, and I was like, oh, this is terrible. I hate this. This is so emo. I'm never gonna listen to this again. This is so not my style. And I didn't listen to them for maybe 2 years. And then I was at an event here in Orlando, Florida called Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, and they were playing a My Chemical Romance song, and I didn't know it was a My Chemical Romance song, and I was listening, and I was like, "This is really good. Like, this is really catchy. I really like this." And then I used an app called Shazam to tell me like what song is playing, and I was like, no way, this is the song I hated like 3 years ago. And then that night I went home and I listened to a bunch of their stuff and I just fell in love with them and I was like, oh my God, their guitar stuff is so cool. They're so different. And that was kind of my start with liking emo music. And then I tried listening to other emo bands, but I didn't really like them. So all the emo stuff I don't like except for them, which was kind of random for me. I don't really know why that happened, but now I'm a huge fan. I'm going to see them in September of this year and very unexpected band that I would like, but I'm really happy I started listening to them because I listen to them all the time now. So I love them.
That's cool. And I'm glad that they're doing shows again. Last I heard, they sort of defunct as a band.
Yeah, I was I thought they were never gonna tour again to be honest, and I thought that I was sad because I was too late of a fan. Like I discovered them too late. So I didn't think I would ever get to see them live. And then I saw an Instagram post and it was their stadium tour and I was like, yes, I was so happy that day. So I'm super happy I get to see them.
And what was the MCR song that you discovered or rediscovered?
The first one, I think their most famous song, or definitely, it was definitely their first big hit. It's called I'm Not Okay, and then in parentheses, it's like I Promise. And it's this really heavy, kind of like punky rock guitar song, and it's really fast, and it's just something that I totally didn't think I would listen to. But then I listened to it again, and I loved it. But then I listened to another song by them, and it's called Helena, and it is my favorite song at the moment, actually. I've been obsessed with it for about like a year actually. I love the song and it's kind of along the same vibe of the other one, but not so much. I just think it's so melodic and catchy and it's just beautiful songwriting. And it's actually a sad song if you listen to the lyrics. It's about the singer's dead grandmother, but it's the song, if you listen to the song, you wouldn't think that it was about something sad. It's a very upbeat, hyper song. So I just thought it was so special, and I just really honored their musicianship when I listened to that song. So that's how I really fell in love with them.
Mhm. Yeah. Tell me more about your mixed relationship with emo music. I think the only emo band that I know for sure are American Football, and I think they're quite good.
Yeah, the only other, I guess you consider Paramore kind of emo. I don't really think they're emo. I kind of think they're like pop punk. Maybe their earlier stuff is considered emo, but I don't really listen to that stuff. I listen to more of their pop stuff. So I guess you could say that. There's also a band called Pierce the Veil who's also kind of emo, and I listened to maybe three of their songs. But then I tried listening to like oh shoot. There's this one band that I know. They're so emo and they're like probably one of the biggest emo bands. I can't think of their name right now, but I listened to their stuff and I was expecting to like it because it's emo like My Chemical Romance. But I just listened and I was like, "No, I just I didn't think it was melodic for my liking and it just didn't I don't know. It wasn't really my thing." So it's very strange how I only really like My Chemical Romance and a few of Pierce the Veil songs, but I'm still happy I like them. But I don't know, it's a little different how I don't like the others, but not my things.
That's it. Yeah. Would that other band that you would it be either Fall Out Boy or Bring Me the
Yes,
Horizon?
Fall Out Boy.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
It was Fall Out Boy. That's what it was. I just listened to them and they weren't really my thing.
Yeah. I did not like the vocals in that one. Yeah, I think
I
that.
think it just kind of depends on the person listening. I totally respect. I think music taste is definitely something that everyone has differently, so I will never like, talk bad about someone's music taste because it's really just opinions. But it just wasn't my thing when I listened and I don't know, just not my thing.
Yeah. I can remember like for a long time there were bands that I did not listen to because I don't think that they were, part of my musical taste. But when I discovered them, you know, I'm not really crazy about them, but I can see the appeal. The example would be the Grateful Dead. Yeah, it baffles me still that I don't think their songs are songs. They're just recorded jam sessions. But there's a
That's
certain
actually a
charm
funny
to it.
take.
Yeah, there's a certain charm to that sort of improvisation. I really like jazz music, so it's something
Hmm.
that I can appreciate.
Yeah, definitely. Jazz is insane and also very hard to play on guitar, so that's something I can definitely be like, wow. But I think music is such an amazing thing, and I think it helps so many people. So I think if you like a song that I don't like, good for you. But I don't know, it always just depends. And yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think there are some people who actually could master jazz on guitar. I'm thinking about people like John McLaughlin.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Some
amazing.
people are absolute masters at jazz, and it just baffles me because there's so much to it because jazz music also isn't most of jazz music isn't considered to be in one key, which makes it like 10 times
Oh
harder on
yeah.
guitar and on any other instrument. So it's just like it's wow, and it's just amazing. Not something I want to play because it's just not my style, but when I see other live musicians either do it here or even listen to it, I'm always just taken aback and I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
Mhm. So you would prefer, performing songs with a conventional structure, kind of like that.
Yeah, yeah, I would say so.
Um, Fast songs or slow songs?
Mm, I don't know. I think it would kind of depend. I think I would say fast. I like kind of the upbeat vibe and it also keeps me on my toes, especially when performing. But I think it also depends on the mood and where I'm playing. Same thing with when I'm just listening to music. It depends on the mood or like the weather. If it's gloomy out, I'll listen to slow songs, but if it's really bright out, I'll listen to like fast songs. I think it always just depends on everything, if that makes sense. It's a very weird take, but it just mainly depends on that.
Mhm. Yeah, for me, I like to listen to, songs with a beat in the mornings and songs without much of a beat in the evenings.
That makes so much sense because you're like getting ready in the morning and you want to get ready for the day, so you're getting hyped up, but then at night you're winding down, you want something more chill. It's basically same thing. It depends on the mood.
Mhm. And one thing I'm trying to do these days is to listen to more music that are without lyrics. Um, yeah, it's my way to sort of like expand my palette a little bit. I find that I listen to too many stuff with lyrics and words.
I totally get that. That's actually something great. I don't really listen to anything without lyrics, I would say. But that's kind of where the music is kind of even more special because there's nothing to I feel like covering it is the wrong word, but just put something over it so you're not as focused on the music, but now it's all music. So it's there's nothing to really hide it or make it sound different than it is, which is kind of cool. But I used to not really like I don't know, pay attention to it, but now that I'm self-producing, I kind of notice stuff more. So it's kind of along the lines of that. Or I'll start trying to listen to more of it now because that's where the producer, I guess, part of me is going to come in now and try to, I don't know, depict things.
Hmm. Yeah, I would recommend the Texas rock band Explosions in the Sky if you're into the kind of like lyric-less rock music. Yeah, they're
Got it.
wonderful.
I'll have to listen. Thank you for that. I'll write them down.
Mhm. So, are there any artists that you would like to open for, if you have a chance to?
Really anybody. I love performing all the time, but I think Paramore would probably be my top choice because I think my music is most like theirs. Maybe Olivia Rodrigo would be amazing. If Heart, I think actually they're on tour together right now because the band were on bad terms, but now I think they're back together. I would love to open for them. Avril Lavigne, um, my Chemical Romance will probably never happen, but if that did happen, I would be mind blown. But pretty much anybody. And if Kiss ever toured again, I would love to open for them or even just see them. They're my favorite band in the world, and they just stopped touring. But if I lived in another life, they would be my top choice.
Oh, yeah. Do you have you ever thought of like whether you can only listen to music from the past or music from the future starting at this period of time?
What do you mean by the question? I need some
So,
help understanding.
okay, so basically you have a choice to either only listen to music that are released before today. So, what, 21st of February, 25th, 2025, or listen to music that are released after today,
I
February
would
21st.
I would definitely choose before. I always like the classic rock songs that were released in like the 70s and the 80s, like we said. And I think if I couldn't listen to that for the rest of my life, I don't know, I would be so different. 90s too, I like the night, even 2000s. I mean, that's My Chemical Romance and stuff. And if I couldn't listen to them ever again, I don't know what I would do. Definitely new music is still amazing and everything is just probably going to keep getting better and, more sophisticated and obviously technology is going to get better. So I think that would still be cool, but if I had to choose, I'm a sucker for the classics, you know what I mean? So I think before the
Mhm.
like, you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah. But that also means that you cannot listen to your own songs because they technically are would be released after today.
Oh, that's true, except for I guess the four that I already have released. But anything else, I guess not. But that's okay with me. Like, I don't really listen to my own songs anyway. It's just when I'm like producing them, so I don't think that counts.
I see. Yeah, I find that when this question is posed to music fans, most of them would stick to the pass, like the pass option. And I suppose that shows like the nostalgic value of music, and I'm sure you'd find yourself like being taken back to a past occasion or even the era that the song was released whenever the song is being played.
Totally. I think a lot of people are now like realizing how Mm, I don't know how to explain it. How special kind of the older songs are, if that makes sense. Like if you turn on the TV and you listen to like all the commercials, it's almost always a classic rock song, which I kind of thought was interesting because I think that's what most people are kind of, I don't know, gravitating towards, if that makes sense, which I think was an interesting thing to, see. So I think it kind of tells us something that I don't know, the nostalgic value of that type of music is really special.
Mhm. So, what is the fan favorite Francesca Tarantino song performed live?
Performed live? I think it depends on the place because when I'm performing at more of a younger crowd and also my friends are there, they really like the most recent song I released called Hold On to Me. They love like the more of the poppy feel on that song. But then if it's more of an older audience, definitely my song Tragedy. I get a lot of requests for that song actually. So, probably those two, but my most streamed song is actually Truth Cannot Hide. But I think the produced version of that is definitely more special than the acoustic version when I play it out. I think there's so many cool things in the produced version that a lot of people like. Um, but I think playing out either Tragedy or Hold On to Me would be the top two live performances that people like the most.
Yeah. For me at least, my fan favorite Francesca song is Hold On to Me.
Yay! Oh, I'm so glad. That
Yeah.
makes me happy because I really like that one too.
Yeah, I think it's a very special piece of music.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I wonder what impact do you hope your music would have on the people listening to it?
I really hope that people listen, and because I write about relatable scenarios, I hope they feel like they're not alone in some of the things that I write about, and other people have gone through the same things. And I also hope some people like this has happened to me. Sometimes I not sometimes, but a while ago I kind of lost my love for music, and then I actually listened to My Chemical Romance, and I was like, oh, I like love music again. This is awesome. And then I started listening to so many other things and kind of brought me back into my world. So I hope that maybe some of my songs people can rediscover their love for music or love for a certain genre or something or love for guitar or anything. And I hope that people can like feel it and it helps them deal with things they're going through and just know that they're not alone. That's probably the main thing.
Mhm. So finally, what does music mean to you?
Music is such a special um how do I explain it? Kind of something you can use to communicate with other people in a way. I think it's just the best and it brings people together. It's like a whole nother world with so many different like roads, like genres. There's so many different things and different instruments. I think there's so many different things that go into it and it kind of releases you from the real world and you're just lost in another dimension, which I think is amazing. You don't even have to write music or play an instrument to be a part of it. If you just listen to music, you can feel that you're kind of getting like lifted off into another place. It's just an escape. It's like therapy. So I think it's very special, and I think our world would be totally different without it. So I think it's a very special tool.
Mhm. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
Thank you very
love.
much, Francesca Tarantino, for joining the show.